Good evening and welcome to the Whisky Lover Society with me, Arran Cote Rotie, and tonight, cupcakes and Mother's Day. And of course, a little bit of a pairing. And I thought to myself, what is the best way to pair a nice cupcake to celebrate Mother's Day? And of course, it must be an Arran. Now, I've been reviewing Arrans for quite some time. I think I have done quite a few of them. I will also put a link over here so that you can have a look at all the other Arrans that I've made. And tonight the whiskey that I'm going to pair with is the Arran Cote Rotie, which is a red wine cask finish, bottled at 50% ABV. Of course, it's Arran, so it's a natural color, non-chill filtered. And quite looking forward to pairing this with a cupcake. So, of course, we also need to know Cote Rotie, what is it all about? It is a red wine cask finish, and I did a little bit of digging, and with that digging I did also find is that the Cote Rotie is a prestigious red wine appellation at the northern tips of the France Rhone Valley wine region. The Shiraz vines on a steep southeast facing slope produce wines which are both powerful and elegant. So what I also found out is that the base wine offers up flavors of blackberry, blackcurrant, violet, chocolate, and a savory hint with a little bit of a olive, bacon fat, white pepper, and a powerful charcoal smoke. Quite an interesting one with regards to the wine. If that is going to translate into the taste of the whiskey, I don't know. From experience, a lot of this wine cask finish that I did try previously, I did not get much of that wine, and in most cases I did not get any of the wine. So 50%, I'm just going to try it without water, and then in the end I'm going to add just a couple of drops of water to see what it does. So the Arran Cote Rotie wine cask finish, color wise, nice color. So it is Arran, of course, non-chill filtered, natural color. So what you see is actually the real color. So lovely dark color, a more golden, not really going into the amber, so nice rich color to it. In the glass, so nice long slow legs forming with a little bit of droplets on the top, so a little bit of an oily consistency on it as well. So on the nose, cheers. Now the whole idea today is to celebrate Mother's Day, and of course for me Mother's Day is always something that to celebrate with something sweet. If you knew my mother, of course she would always have something sweet in the house. Cakes, there's always chocolates, there's always sweets in a handbag. So I associate all the sweet things with my mother. So today I'm celebrating my mother. So cheers to her. So the sweetness that I get, it's a lovely dark sweetness, and it's a little bit more like a sherry cask whiskey for me. So it reminds me of that fruity flavors. It reminds me a little bit of a sherry. It reminds me a little bit of a Pedro Ximénez finish with a hint of that sulfur coming out, but just a hint of it in the right at the back. So definitely I get the dried fruits, I get the raisins in it, a little bit of a figs in it, and a little bit of a lovely sweet, maybe going into a little bit of a treacle, a little bit of a sweetness, a little bit of a brown sugar note as well. Also pick up a little bit of a dusty note, but that sweetness is overwhelming. It is quite a sweet one on the nose. It also reminds me a little bit of a chocolate covered raisins. So that's sweetness on sweetness on sweetness. Quite a sweet one. If you don't like the sweet whiskies, this one is definitely not going to. Also get a hint of a vanilla in the back. But talking about or thinking about a red wine cask, if you would have given me this whiskey and tell me that this is a red wine cask finish, I would not have picked that up. It is just a lovely nose, but definitely not a red wine. Now at the 50% ABV, there's definitely a little bit of a spiciness to it, especially if you do agitate it. Now this is a no age statement whiskey, so I'm not sure how old it is, but there is a youthfulness in it. A little bit of a spicy, maybe even a little bit of a peppery note, a little bit of a cinnamon note also coming out, and a hint of a clove. This is really a complex whiskey, especially for something that is a no age statement whiskey. So on the taste, on the Arran, cheers. Now that spiciness that I got on the nose is definitely elevated on the taste. And of course at the 50% ABV, I think it even gives more of that spiciness. So it's a nice, hot, spicy, and when I get the sweetness of it, the lovely sweetness, the raisins coming out, even going into a little bit of a light chocolate note, but it is sweet. Definitely sweet on the nose, sweet on the taste. Let me give it one more try. Cheers. Lovely, sweet, spicy, and then I get a little bit of an oak coming in. And I'm not actually surprised with the oak. It is probably a little bit of an European oak. So there is that spiciness coming out of that oak. Quite lovely. And I think if it wasn't for that oak coming out, it would have been a little bit too sweet. Now I cannot believe that I said something is too sweet, but this one is really sweet. And that oakiness in the end, absolutely fantastic. And of course, it is Mother's Day, and I'm going to compare it with something that is really sweet. And I think this is also going to help with the oakiness. Now, I've put some pictures up. So this is actually a cupcake. This is actually a cupcake that was, the photos what was made by my son. And this is the cupcake, a lovely Mother's Day cupcake with a little bit of a ballerina dress on top. Of course, it's going to be very sweet, so I'm just going to have a small bite of it, just to add a little bit of a contrast with the whiskey. And I can tell you, I've done it before, with the sweetness on a whiskey. It's fantastic. Whiskey does not like something that is spicy. So before I get into that, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Now, before I add that, I still don't get the red wine on the taste as well. It is just lovely. Oh, and a little spicy bite in the end is fantastic. So I'm not going to add a little bit of water. Maybe half a teaspoon of water. With this one, I've also seen if you add just a little bit too much, it completely destroys all the lovely flavors in it. So on this one, I am literally going to add a quarter of a teaspoon of water. Of course, if I need more water, then I can just add some. So a quarter of a teaspoon of water. It is 50% ABV. And of course, it completely changed for me. It just elevates the sweetness. That a little bit of a vanilla notes coming out. That sweetness of the berry notes, the blackberries, the currant notes. It's still strong on the nose. I think it is possible for me to add just a little bit, but I'm not going to. For me, it's fantastic. If you, of course, agitate it, it does give out a little bit more of the aromas. Absolutely fantastic on the nose and on the taste. Let me just give it one try and then we'll discussed the cupcake. So with the water, it just elevated that sweetness. So a little bit sweeter, if it was even possible. But it changed a little bit for something like a hard-boiled sweet for me. A nice dark fruit sweet with a little bit of a raisin flavor to it. Let me just give it one more. It reminds me a little bit of a gummy berries. The dark fruit, the dark red gummy berries that you get, it's something similar to that. Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. Even with the water, it still feels quite strong. So I'm going to add maybe, I think I added a little bit, I don't think I've added enough water. So I'm just going to put in another half a teaspoon of water. So in the end, 1 teaspoon of water on probably about 25 milliliters. That nice, almost apple pie note coming out. Apple pie with some raisins and a little bit of a cinnamon in it. Absolutely fantastic. I do like this one. Well, I'm a little bit biased. I do like Arran very much. And I don't think I've had an Arran that I didn't enjoy. But of course, it's Mother's Day. The cupcake needs to come into play. I think this is just a lovely creation. This is one of my wife's friends that created it. She makes absolutely fantastic cakes, fantastic cupcakes. And I think this is just an art form by itself. So I'm just going to take a small bite, not even allowed to have cupcakes. But of course it's Mother's Day. And cheers to my mother and cheers to my wife, also a mother. So here's to you. Let me just take a small bite. It's not going to look pretty, but I'm going to go in, and I'm not going to go in deep. So the icing sugar, surprisingly, is not that sweet. The sponge cake is nice, light, crumbly, which is the way I like. And I think I need to wash it down with a little bit of a Arran Cote Rotie. And I can tell you, this is a match made in heaven. Absolutely fantastic. You get that sweet cupcake, and then it feels like maybe it's a little bit too sweet. And when you put the Arran on top of that, it just brings down the sweetness, although it's sweet by itself, but it's not as sweet as a cupcake, and it is fantastic. It just mingles well, it tastes well, and I think this is a great end to a fantastic day of Mother's Day. So all the mothers out there, cheers to you, happy Mother's Day, and I hope your children gave you a nice breakfast in bed this morning, and of course made some dinner for you tonight. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. You come this far, ring that bell, leave a comment. What did you do that's special for your Mother's Day? Cheers.